Hey everyone, hopefully you guys are enjoying Monster Hunter in whichever fashion you're choosing to play it as. And today what I want to go over is the latest information that we have regarding Monster Hunter Now and the Fulmination in the Frost update, where the developers decided to take to social media and provide to us pretty much everything that we need to expect as part of this update, which is currently now live in the game, and more importantly, the reasoning behind some of the updates that we are getting this time around. Alongside that, they're also confirming what we can be expecting near the future as they make their way into more downloadable post-launch content. And this is pretty much what I have been asking for Niantic to kind of get to pretty much for quite a while now. Give us some sort of transparency, show us your plans, tell us exactly what your ideas are with this game going forward, so players who basically either feel burned out right now or just simply are upset with the way that the content has been slow to trickle out, maybe can look forward to something in the future, as we now have a little bit of a clearer picture as to what it is that we will be getting. First and foremost, I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for a letter from the developer's major update regarding the Fulminations in the Frost update. This update is coming to us directly from the game director from Monster Hunter Now, Kano, which basically says, first and foremost, firstly, I want to thank you for playing and enjoying Monster Hunter Now. Today, I'm excited to bring you the first major update, Fulmination of Frost. In this letter, I would like to share with you a little bit about the update, how it came about, and the future ahead. So in plain terms, pretty much all the reasoning as to why it is that we ended up getting the updates that we got. And I know some people have been complaining regarding maybe not enough monsters or maybe all the weapons that we knew were data mines that should have been there. But ultimately, this is a mobile game. A trickle effect is in full mode here, and they're just going to trickle out content as is per mobile game focus. In their post, they mentioned that the addition of monsters. In this update, we chose to add the following new monsters. Large monsters, Radoban, Bombaro, Barioth, and Sinogre. Small monsters are Wolg and Kordos. For the first major update, we chose to include fan favorite Sinogre because we wanted to include a monster that we knew a lot of players were looking forward to. We then chose Barioth and Bambaroth, who we thought were complementary to the winter theme for this update. Additionally, we still didn't have any monsters that could cause sleep status, and we wanted to introduce one soon, so Radoban was chosen. As we go into the warmer months for the next update to come, Barioth, Wolg, and Gordos will stop appearing for a while, so we recommend you hunt them as much as you can while the in-game field is adorned for winter from December to early March. So first and foremost, there's a lot to take away here. Essentially, they are saying that Radoban is only introduced because of his sleep status, Bambaroth and Barioth are only introduced because it is wintry months, and the only real monster that they wanted to add was Sinogre. Now, of course, the small monsters, these are 2 of the 4 that we know of. There's 2 more that should be part of presumably the next update and the later biomes that we know are going to be added into the game thanks to the data mines. So I do find it fascinating that at the very least they did want to get a popular monster in there, but then pretty much every other one is just kind of like fulfilling a very specific role. This reminds me very similar to what we saw Ryoso Sugimoto mention in that I believe that developer interview that he did, where he was talking about Mudboy, Gyarados, for example, being added into the game. And it was just because, hey, they needed more monsters. Not every monster that they add is going to be popular, and sometimes you just get the unpopulars alongside with it. And ultimately, a lot of people were making a lot of fun of that monster, but at the end of the day, it isn't a popular monster. We all kind of already know that. And they just add things to kind of round out the roster, and ultimately, it seems like Radoban certainly for his sleep status, Bombaro and Barioth because they're cold, but the one that they really wanted was the Sinogre, and they make that very clear. In the addition of weapon, dual blades and lances are the first weapon types to be added since launch. Here's a look at why we chose them. A lot of you have been waiting for the arrival of dual blade weapons types, so we had always wanted to introduce them early on. We grappled with how to translate its most iconic features, Demon Mode, into a 75-second hunt, so it took a while to get it right, but we were proud to bring you to it as part of this first update. Until now, Swords and Shield was the only weapon that could guard. We wanted to allow for a wider range of equipment and skills like guard and offensive guard, which factored in guarding in the future. So we chose to include Lance in this update. So basically, Lance isn't because they've like reworked it and made it extremely powerful like some people suggested, but ultimately because they wanted some other shield type weapon to kind of help players out a little bit. Some monsters, they have been complaining that maybe hit too hard. A lot of sword and shield users have been kind of getting by just fine. So maybe that is exactly why they added Lance to begin with. Again, though, starting out a new weapon and rebuilding all those stats, man, it is a lot of grind that you're putting yourself up if you're starting a new weapon at this point in time. But that is the mobile game criteria. Dual blades were always supposed to be part of the first batch. We know that based on the data mines. They were the very first weapons that we found on the mines originally. So dual blades presumably were designed to be there from day one, but something clearly went wrong, and they're talking about demon mode here. So presumably demon mode might have been the reason why they were delayed post-launch. In the addition of Huntathons, Huntathons are a new way to play in which multiple monsters can be hunted in succession. In a Huntathon, a phenomenon called the Dimensional Rift occurs as waste shots, what you see in-game gathering points. And notice that the countdown appears to let you know that a Huntathon is about to start. Hunters can join Bound War by gathering in Huntathon points where one is being held. As before, up to 4 hunters can join a Huntathon and at the same time in the same group. Going forward, Huntathons will feature some monsters that you normally only see during events, as well as monsters that exclusively appear in Huntathons. So the divergence of monster appearing only specifically in certain areas will continue to happen with Huntathons. Essentially, they can bring an ice monster from one place to a summer area, to a hot spot. They can bring jungle monsters into the sandy areas and stuff like that. That's essentially what they're trying to do here. So you don't have to go too out of your way to be able to get access to those monsters. And they are now confirming that there will be Huntathon-specific monsters, but also, presumably such species like the Pink Rathian and Black Diablos, which you know are going to be making an appearance throughout this month of December, they're also confirming that these monsters could potentially appear in Huntathons, where they typically just offer themselves out in the field. So that's pretty good to see at the very least. In this update, Sinogre will be an exclusive Huntathon monster, so we do get that confirmation there. They had two main goals for creating this feature. They wanted hunters to feel closer and more connected while playing together, and they wanted to gradually introduce more content that makes use of more specific areas. That is pretty much exactly what I expected them to do, and they're following through on that. Monster Hunter Now will remain a location-based game that can be played anywhere, but they believe that there's an experience of achieving a goal with other specific locations is also one of the interesting aspects of localization-based games. They are also considering other ways to make Huntathons even easier to play for those who are in areas with fewer people traditionally gather. What they could possibly do is just remove that stupid lock that they have where players are locked to just not being able to use things that make you kind of like pseudo walk, change your location and stuff like that. They could just simply outright remove that limit and let players use those apps and ultimately just let players have fun with the game. But they don't want to do that. They want to limit how do you play, so they're going to continue to do that. When it comes to field changes, they mentioned that the field will be lightly snow covered for a while to match the monsters that will be appearing from December to early March. Barioth, Wulg, and Kordos will only be around while there's snow on the field, and they will stop appearing with the arrival of the spring. So do keep in mind, if Barioth is what you're after, hunt that boy like crazy, because you're going to be needing those parts once he goes away, and you're not going to be able to get it, especially if it's a high rarity one, and you need those high quality drops. They also mentioned that new quests, they've added some new quests to feature newly added monsters. Newly added monsters will make their first appearance in special quests rather than main story quests. Item box expansions, they've added many requests for item box expansions. While it didn't quite make it into this major update, they are planning another update by mid-December to expand the box with capabilities further. They appreciate your patience. So expect a mid-month update, probably about a week or so from now. So we should be able to see something there. And now we're getting into the good stuff, rebalancing and enclosing. First and foremost, I mentioned that please see more information regarding the balancing. So I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for that. But they did some really interesting adjustments there, which I kind of want to cover in a separate video. But then they also talk about what's in store for the future. They're planning events all throughout the new year into January and February. The next major update is set for spring of 2024. They will be sharing out a roadmap for March and beyond sometime around January 2024. So first and foremost, remember that they keep giving you like very small update roadmap kind of things for a month. Now they're saying basically we're going to get one January, February, and March, all the way in January. So basically all the updates heading into the next major update will be known at some point in January, which is pretty good to see. More details will be shared at that time, but there's a taste of what's here to come. They're planning to have a seasonal system in Monster Hunter Now. They'll be adding new main story chapters alongside the start of a new season in March. And of course, you can expect additional new weapon types and monsters as well. That's a given based on the Datamines. Please stay tuned for more further announcements. In saying that, they're still ironing out some details, so some of this may change in the coming months. The reason why they say that is because, well, the game is not necessarily doing that well in the Japanese digital storefronts anymore. For about the first month and a half or so, it was pretty much top 5, top 3, and then it's kind of dipped now into that crazy 15 to 30 range, where developers can either choose to just kind of dismiss their game or just kind of continue to support it. And Monster Hunter Now has kind of been trickling down from 15 to 30 pretty quickly within the past few weeks. There's a website that posts this every single week at the end of the week. So it will be interesting to see just how much they choose to support it, and if by February or March they just basically choose to give up at the end of the day. That would be really interesting to see. But I hope they don't do that, but it will be interesting to see nonetheless, especially with the reveal of the next major line game happening around that time period. It is hard to believe that in 3 months that have passed since Monster Hunter Now officially launched in September, seeing so many of you playing and enjoying the game has been a huge source of joy and enjoyment for us. There's still a lot that we want to achieve in the way of various improvements based on the feedback, new features, and quality of life improvements. Some things we are looking forward to are working on 2024. We appreciate your continued support. So for now, it seems like they're doing the right thing. A lot of people are complaining about the small number of monsters. Well, you have your reasoning why. There are some people that are complaining about not a lot of weapons, so now you see why. And ultimately, it will be interesting to see what happens in spring, aka March or April, with this major next update. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.